What is up, gamers? Today, we are here with another episode of the CRUBCAST, your weekly dose of controlled chaos, where it always gets worse. I am the blurry Nico because my camera, for some reason, decided to unfocus during the break. There we go. And I'm here with my wonderful co-crubbers. We have Moriarty, say hi.
Hello.
We have Sean Wolf Chaos on. Sean, say hi.
No.
Very good. We have Cass, that Trav guy. Cass, say hi.
That was a very nice sound.
Sweet. And today we have a very special topic that was a question on our Patreon, but we just wanted to expound upon it a little bit more. We found it thought-provoking, so we wanted to give it its own episode. So stop us if you heard this one before, but perhaps a little bit different perspective here. Let me find it.
I believe in you.
Yes, I'm trying to pull up the exact quote. It's about leaks in gaming, and are they good or not? However,
I like the idea of that's exactly how they worded it too.
Sure. So I can read it for you.
Yeah,
Is the art of leaking game information and news a truly admirable and rebellious part of gaming culture, or does it seem like more trouble than it's really worth whenever it devolves into clout-chasing nonsense? This was sent to us by The Crazy Even, I think actually today, just so that you can see how quickly sometimes we get to these things. And so we wanted to have a chat about this. And I have quite a lot to say, I think, which is, boy, I'm going to go through maybe like 10 different points for this one. All right. Okay. And I think that I can start right away with the idea that there is leaking and then there's actual journalism, right? So Jason Schreier, Tom Henderson, right? They're out there cultivating sources, they're confirming stories, and they're not just dumping build files, which we tend to see from the leakers when they're doing, a lot of these things is just throwing whatever they get out there. We saw this with the Among Us TV show, right? We saw this with all sorts of stuff that came out during this year's Not E3, where the leaks were just things being thrown out, right? So an example of a good one that we've seen from, a leak was the 2023 Xbox FTC trial, right? Where we saw lots of exposed hardware. We saw the roadmap. We saw the confirmation of GTA 6's window. Like, that's accountability journalism, right? In a leak sort of costume. And that's the kind of thing that I'm actually okay with. I think that's fine. But then you've got leaking itself. You have this so-called insider economy. And frankly, it's 95% vibes, right? So, Vergeben, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't remember this guy's name.
Oh, yeah, Vergeben. I remember.
Vergeben, yeah. So he was somebody who correctly called out the Simon Belmont and Ken for Smash Ultimate, and he's been writing that credibility for years of misses, right? He was wrong about Banjo, he was wrong about Gino, he was wrong.
Yeah, the only one afterwards
wrong.
he was right about was like Terry, and even then it was a vague I think someone with a star is getting in, and that was
right. Yet every single time these new claims are, these new things that he's claiming, they're getting treated like they're gospel by, Smash and the fighting game community and just sort of Twitter in general, right? Pokemon leak culture runs on the exact same playbook. Fake evolutions, fabricated, sheets and Discord whispers that are retroactively edited and. What's up with food? And the signal to noise is just, it's way, 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 way too high, right? Like, it's closer to astrology than journalism if we're talking about journalism, right?
Gosh.
But the follower counts and so on, it just keeps going, it keeps getting bigger, it keeps doing all of these things. And so I think that's really like my core kind of dichotomy between these two, between, what is leaking, what is good, what is bad about it. I think there's a difference between just kind of clout chasing insiders and actual journalism.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's like, hey, let me just spoil all this. Oh, hey, you want to know what's coming out? Let me tell you this. Let me show you that. And
then like, you have other instances like when Insomniac got like ransomwared, and then a bunch of their stuff got leaked because they didn't pay the ransom.
Yeah, and like the thing is, I know people get excited. I know people want to say like, oh my gosh, guys, all this cool stuff's happening, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you know how people spoil movies or TV shows like the day of? It's like, oh, if you want to watch it so bad, why don't you go see it? Sometimes I feel like a lot of individuals that like get those leaks or like have that kind of energy. Like, what do you mean? You should know about this.
They want
you should
attention.
know. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I love attention. I am a attention whore, but no one's paying attention to you. They're paying attention to the news that you're leaking. That's all they care about. And so I don't know. There's just something disingenuous about it. Like you were saying, Em, like it's not journalism. It's just, hey, I've heard it through the grapevine. Here's some stuff. It's like, for example, the NFL draft. When I watch the NFL draft, I have these individuals that I follow that like leak picks before they like are on the TV and what have you. And some people like to do that because it's like, oh, this pick's coming. So that means like, I know what it's different because that's like in the moment within like 5 minutes of being on the TV. But this is like, oh, hey, this game is maybe a year away from happening. Anyway, here's some alpha footage that's going to make people like complain about it for the next 3 months and make a podcast episode about it because it doesn't look finished. Anyway, have fun. It's just, I don't know. There's just, I like and don't like it because yes, I do get excited for things that get leaked, but at the same time, it's not, I don't know. It just, I feel bad for the people that work really hard on games that are like super excited. It's like, oh, my game's going to show like during this or during that. And it's gets shown like 2 weeks beforehand. And it's like, well, what the piss? I spent all this hyping it up and signed NDAs not to talk about it, and all of a sudden it's right there, and it's like I still can't talk about it because I'm still under NDA. I don't know. It's just it hurts. It hurts. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree. I was about to come in here with a take before I was presented with the information of people leaking game information to somehow generate clout for themselves. I'm with you, Sean. I don't think it makes any sense. I think it's like it seems like a bit of a misdirected way to clout chase for that reason that you listed. And so therefore, I think that changes my view on it a little bit. So I think I agree.
Would you be open to giving what your view was going to be before you got that information?
Yes, but I also don't want to stop Moriarty if he has more to say.
Oh, I mean, I'll get through it. Don't worry. You know me. Please, let's hear your point.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just like, I sort of loathe the lack of transparency in the gaming industry. And so I wasn't going to come in here and say all leaks unilaterally are good, but just I think more often than not, I tend to be like, cool. But the problem then comes with, upon reflection, right? It's like, how long have people been, quote unquote, leaking Bloodborne, right? Like, which is straight up like not happening. It's a little annoying when it's something like that, where it's blatantly wrong. Like, bro, where are you getting this from? Did you just make it up?
Yeah.
Right? And B,
and people do that because they like to rage bait or whatever.
And B, like, I don't know, things spread out. It gets people talking, and I just don't like that when it is dishonest. So to M's point,
it sounds like
journalism is different than straight up like leaking things for clout. However, I'll insert a third category, which is leaking things like to get the information out there, which I guess under not always, not necessarily. Like whoever dumped the like, I guess to M's point, just file dumping, right? Like people dump games early or whatever
like
they get.
the Nintendo Giga Leak and stuff like that.
Yeah, or the GTA 6 leak or whatever. Like, I don't know. Were there any that were like hyper confirmed that were just like,
what do you mean?
The entire Wolverine game got leaked like 2 years ago, like a playable,
like the alpha
version.
Yeah.
Playable version of it. Yep.
See, no, I don't.
Persona 6 had their
think
like
that's,
protagonists like actually shown as well. That got DMCA down.
I think
what
those are
else?
not as big of a problem to me
Half-Life,
personally.
the entirety of Half-Life 2 got leaked like a year before it came out.
Yeah, and then that led to an incredible moment where Valve contacted him, said, "We love what you did. Come on in. We're gonna hire you and give you money."
Yeah,
and
like,
then when
come
he
on,
showed
we're
up,
gonna-
they arrested him on the spot.
Yeah.
There is, I think, a big difference between somebody who is sort of hacking you and stealing your content. I have quite a lot of, I think, nuance in this discussion because I think it really just kind of depends on specifically what and where and how, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it so that it will feel like I am saying often that leaking is fine because it becomes journalism, but there is a difference, and it's important that you kind of stay within that, right? Like preservation is a real argument. You brought up the Giga Leak from Nintendo, which was in 2020. And, you know, without that, we wouldn't have the Super Mario 64 beta builds. We wouldn't have the Star Fox 2 internals. We wouldn't have the unused Yoshi Island assets, right? Like, these are materials that Nintendo, which is, like, notoriously bad at sort of preserving stuff it doesn't want, it would very happily memory hold all of this, right? Yeah. And so when publishers are sort of actively killing their own history, you know, with the Wii Shop or the 3DS eShop, I feel at that case, right, a leaker is an archivist. They're a journalist and they're doing something that is valuable. And there is, so I've had a lot of discussions, obviously, with people inside of the industry who work in the industry. And one of the things that has, you know, always sort of interested me is preservation, and preservation when it comes to things like piracy or when it comes to, you know, quote unquote, IP theft. And one of the things that I was once told by Larry from Night Dive, was that, you know, just because it's my car and I put it in the garage doesn't mean you can take the keys and take it for a drive. And I feel like that sounds like it's logical, right?
No, it doesn't. Like, doesn't make any sense to me.
It sounds right, but it's not the same.
Right. It would sound logical to most people who are not Nico, perhaps. But, like, in general, I think that there is it is easy to convince somebody that this is my property, and therefore, if I don't want to sell it or provide it, that is my right, right? Like, if I am a musician and I don't want you listening to my music, it is my right to take it off of Spotify and not allow you to listen to it anymore. And the thing is, though, right, is that it's hard for me because I think that is a logical take that I disagree with, right? It is a logical take because there's a difference between saying, hey, you can't listen to my music on Spotify, and hey, you can't share your CD or your DVD of this game because I don't want you selling it anymore. And I feel that is sort of different, right? And we've seen a lot of this show up with the secondary market over the years. We saw the game keys where you had to, like, you know, online passes that we saw EA do, right? So, like, we've seen a lot of attempts to make secondary market disappear. And I think that it's sort of in that same argument that if you're not going to sell it, if you're not going to provide it, and it's not available, and you have no intention whatsoever of monetizing this thing, then it is, as much as many people will not agree, it is abandonware. And the moment it becomes abandonware, I think it is perfectly acceptable to keep it out there, right? So, like, preservation is definitely a very real argument for me. And I think that that's something that's important to remember is when these leakers are doing things, if they're leaking something that isn't going to make money for somebody else, then I am very happy for that to be leaked, right? Like, it's not losing money. If you're right? So, like, if you're doing what we saw with Wolverine or with Half-Life, you are actively trying to harm this company's ability to monetize their own product, and that feels bad, right? I've never felt bad about an artist making money off of something that they do. I've never felt bad about that. I pay for my games, you know, I don't pirate that kind of stuff, right? Like, I have no problem with that. But at the same time, you know, if you're going to do that, then yeah. So I don't know. I think that it's a nuanced position just on preservation law. And there's so much more, right? So like Nico said, publishers created this demand. They continue to create the demand. We have the Jeff Keighley world premiere complex, right? We have FOMO trailers. We have manufactured shadow drops. We have all of this sort of stuff. And leaks end up feeling like an immune response to this sort of marketing theater that we've got out there, right? Like, you can't sell mystery for a decade and then act shocked when people are sitting there and you know, picking the lock to get into it. So I don't think that publishers haven't created this demand. And I do think that that is something that is worth remembering. If you're going to come out and tell me that Fable is coming out, right, and then it's going to get delayed, and then it's going to get delayed, and then it's going to get delayed. I think the original Fable 4 was supposed to come out, what, in 2022? And it's 2026, and it's not coming out till 2027, maybe, because they push it back again. Like, I feel that when you're doing that, it's very, very, very understandable why if I'm watching your game and I'm seeing The Rock show up talking to Michelle Rodriguez going, and I saw a clip of the movie. It's really good. Whoa, so good. Go watch my movie. By the way, my game comes out next. Right? Yeah. If you're seeing that kind of just cringy marketing hype fest, absolute garbage, right? I understand why you would seek out and enjoy a leak. I get it. Right? And I super understand why you would say, you know, I want real information. I don't want this marketing crap. I don't want to be slopped at. I want to know what's actually coming.
That just reminded me of Arc 2 when they had Vin Diesel come out. And it was like, oh, yeah, you guys know that the new Fast and Furious, anyway, I'm in Arc 2. Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. Vin Diesel, not The Rock. Boy, they are the same person to me.
One
of them looks like Sean.
I don't like that sentence.
Good question is which one? If you've never seen Sean, if you don't know what he looks like because you listen to this exclusively on audio, I would be very curious which one of those two you think he most looks like, because I can guarantee you you're going to be very close.
Yes, it's a 50-50. It is a 50-50. Maybe.
Oh, that's so funny.
Gosh, I need to find that picture somewhere.
Yeah, Emma, I like that. I like that take. Yeah, it is, like, I don't want to say, like, open yourself up to it with this, like, hype train and people really don't want to be slopped at. Like, it's a
nuanced position, right? Like, we both don't want it, and also we want to talk about your game. I've long felt that we do not need to have this sort of secrecy shroud that we've got, right? And, like, the reason it exists makes some sense. Which I assume is what you're about to ask.
Why is, like, the secrecy of video games almost handled with the same level of intensity as, like, national secrets?
Right. So, like, the reason the industry cares about secrecy in video games is very, very simple, and it is that it is easy to replicate, right? So if I produce a game that is a Pokemon, right? Pokemon doesn't exist, and I create Pokemon, and I say, look, here's a game where you can throw out a ball and grab a monster, and you can fight the monsters against each other, right? It is really, really simple in this industry for somebody to take that concept and produce that game even faster and get it out. And there is a first mover's advantage with gaming to a certain extent, right? Like, it's not as big as, say, fashion necessarily, but it is certainly a first mover's advantage because everybody's going to start playing your game and like it the way that it is. We see this whenever the Pokemon, iterations come out where it is, oh, well, this is just what they did in Pokemon, right? Like if we saw Pal World, which is not a Pokemon-like at all. It is not a Pokemon-like, yet people will still compare it to Pokemon because it has, well, I mean, frankly, Pal World's maybe a bad decision for that one just because they did maybe crib a lot of designs. But in terms of actual gameplay, there's almost no comparison except for the fact that you do throw out an orb to capture a monster, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of it, really, when you think about it. It's like, oh, yeah, that's it. I think that, well, thinking of it in terms of like, hey, how's it like Pokemon? And yeah, the designs, but other than that, it's like, yeah. All I can say is yeah with that, in all honesty. Just yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do see, and I think we talked about, Sean brought this up. So one of the things that we've seen in the sort of leaker space, right, is what I would consider to be the Last of Us Part 2 case, right?
Oh gosh, that.
Not even necessarily it itself, but just what happens with that, with The Last of Us Part 2, right? Which is itself this sort of very cautionary tale of leaking, because the pre-release leak spoiled all of the major plot beats, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that it ended up weaponizing fan resentment long before anybody got a chance to play the game, right? Like, I remember that when The Last of Us 2 leaks were coming out, people were like, this game's gonna be trash, it's terrible, what an awful game, immediately, because exclusively about what the leaks were saying, right?
Yeah.
It drastically shaped the critical reception. The Naughty Dog devs got all sorts of harassment, right? Like, the information wants to be free. It's sort of, I don't know. It's, as Chimbis is saying in our Twitch chat, where we stream this every single Tuesday. This is Tuesday, right? It is Tuesday. Yes.
I think so.
Yes, we stream on Tuesdays at twitch.tv/Crub_official. As Chimbis says, Toulouse 2 was the worst case scenario. And it really, really is the worst case scenario. That is the worst case that it could be. And that shows, I think, sort of some of the problem with people who want to just sort of leak these games, and they want to do it in sort of however they possibly can, right?
Right.
Versus somebody who's trying to do it for a good thing, versus somebody who's doing it just for clout, right? Like, we don't know necessarily why some people are leaking these things. I don't know that I recall why Toulouse 2 was leaked, but I have to imagine that it was either for clout or because they truly thought that, like, the story needed to be changed. And we've seen that happen and fix things with, say, the original Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yep.
Right? We've seen fan backlash change these things for the better. But a lot of times it ends up just being kind of clout chase. And I think the thing that shows you when it's clout chase is when the handle is bigger than the headline, right? So, like, Centro says, Billy Billikens reports, Dusk Golem teases, right? Like, when the personal brand is sort of eclipsing the information, then that's just influencer content, right?
Yeah, like, you know what this is. Like, you just want your name out there.
It's just influencer content. And, right, like, as an influencer myself, right, like, I kind of understand the desire. For example, you know, I've tweeted out things that are hints about stuff that I've heard too. And, you know, when they get proven true, I will happily re-quote my own tweets and say, hey, see, I told you. So, like, I do understand. I get the impulse to be right, to show your credibility, right? To show that you are an insider, to show that you do know these things, which is probably the impulse that's the most close to me, right? Like, as a journalist
look at how
myself.
important I am.
Well, right, like, as a journalist myself, exactly. Look at how close I am to the information. Look how much I know. Look at how cool I am. Follow me, pay attention to me. I absolutely understand that impulse, 100%.
Yep.
Right. But, like, the difference is, like, when that's all you do, I feel like you become more attached to the news that you kind of get out there, because it's like, if anyone says anything about it, like, I've seen a couple people get, like, really upset whenever it's like, oh, your leaks, that wasn't correct, that you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you really just insulted them in the worst way possible. And I've seen leakers react that way. So for some people, like, like you said, influencer, content creator, leaking is some people's content, and they are going to treat it as their baby.
Sure.
And also that's why, like, it's like, to me, it's like, why are you getting upset that people are upset about the leak? Why are you getting upset that you got some information wrong? Because, like, again, it's like, telephones, sometimes you're going to get some things wrong. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I think that's sort of crazy is when we see these companies where something gets leaked and they decide that they're not going to release it, or that they're going to go back and fundamentally change it. And it's like, okay, but all that happened was that it got leaked, in that we know that this thing exists. And yet you feel that you have to go and completely redefine the entire product for some reason. That part I never understand.
Yeah.
And we do see it happen. And that's part of that whole video game, secret, non-transparent, I guess obfuscation that we've got, right? Where you've got this sort of existence of, we need to keep everything as quiet as possible. Oh no, something got leaked. Change everything. It's crap now. Yeah. And I don't understand that. I really do wish that we were a little bit closer towards the Hollywood take, where there are people taking photos of what's going on the sets of these major films, like, the Odyssey. We know what all of the costumes looked like a long time ago. We knew which actors were on the set a long time ago. And yet if a voice actor changes their LinkedIn to say that they were in a thing, they get sued and blacklisted by the entire industry because, they leaked the game. And I think that's crazy. I think it's absolutely insane. So like there is this sort of shroud, as I mentioned. I don't like that. I think we shouldn't have that, but that's part of why the industry really is just sort of bringing this on itself, right? Like, it does this to itself, and that is the problem. Even though I don't agree necessarily that the leaking is good, right? Like, there's that clout chasing, there's the people who are trying to harm somebody, and there's the real journalists all in that sort of leaker sphere. So even though I disagree with essentially 60% of that, right, there's still the question of whether or not it should or shouldn't happen through transparency. And I think that the lack of transparency from these publishers, from these, developers, is what's causing it. It is the thing that causes it to happen. Yep. And if you were to see more transparency in the industry, if you were to see these, game companies being like, yeah, we're working on this thing, and here's some stuff, and here's what it looks like, and we're not really ready to talk about it yet, but it's there, right? Like, that would be fine. I would be fine with that. Somebody like maybe Nico wouldn't, because I know you have some really, really, really hot takes about this.
No, everything you've said, I think you've hit everything that I believe personally. Like, I'm on board with pretty much everything you just said. I think my real issue comes with the lack of transparency in the companies, and I am feeling exactly what you just described. That and I'm sort of expressing that, I suppose, like expressing those feelings through the takes of just like, yeah, some leaking's fine. And it is like fundamentally, for me, like, for that reason of like lack of transparency, lack of just like, let like a small detail get out there, and let it be out there that this thing's happening. Like, who cares? And to your point, like, and this is the one thing that people hadn't proposed to me in the past. I haven't been, and I just didn't even consider this, the replicability factor that you mentioned earlier, I think was a really, 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 really good point to defend the secrecy in the industry, and that kind of like softened my views a little bit, because now I have a bit of an explanation as to why they do it.
That's usually the excuse, right? But it's a little bit, I think it falls a little flat when we look at something like a Bloodborne, right? Because if Bloodborne 2 if they were to talk about it and say, yeah, we're working on Bloodborne 2, we don't expect it to be out for a decade, but we're working on it, here's some stuff that we're kind of doing. I don't think somebody replicates Bloodborne. It's a AAA title that has a pedigree, and I don't see somebody just kind of replicating that. So for that, I think the argument does fall a little flat. We've seen some, companies that do really good sort of, dev diary stuff and early stuff. Undead Labs, who does all of the State of Decay stuff, they're really, really good about this. Famously, this is how Kevin the Golden Bolt got into YouTubing, was because he followed dev diaries and forums and stuff for some of the games that he was interested in. And
I think
without that sort of transparency, right, he wouldn't be here.
Right. And I like, and that's kind of like, I guess like my primary mission here right now is to decry the secrecy of the industry more so than praise the leaks. I don't want to praise leaks. I actually agree with like what you said and putting it in the perspective of artists and you know, the affecting the profitability, money-making potential of the you know, of the product.
I mean, so like, I think the issue is that workers are really the ones who sort of eat the cost for your ability to sort of throw this out, right? Like AAA marketing teams have their crisis playbooks, but indie devs don't. So when some small studio gets their reveal scooped by, you know, a Discord screenshot, there's no PR machine to kind of absorb that. There's just 3 people who are watching their launch window evaporate, right? Like, and that sucks. It doesn't feel quite as good. And I feel like a lot of times when we look at it, sort of the Robin Hood myth of this, right, it collapses when you actually do any sort of inspection of it. So there was this guy who leaked 2022, I don't know, 90 or 100 different development clips of GTA 6, right? He had accessed Rockstar's internal Slack, and he'd downloaded a whole bunch of stuff, and he just kind of loaded it all up. But the thing is he did it from a Travelodge hotel, right? While under police protection on bail. He'd used a Fire Stick and his hotel TV and his phone, and he'd done all this after he'd already had Rockstar confiscate his laptop, right? So he'd already breached these other companies. He'd done all this sort of stuff. He'd been found unfit for trial. He'd been, you know, whatever. And rather than showing him as this sort of anti-corporate folk hero that everybody tends to view it as, that is clearly somebody who is having a mental health crisis, right?
Gosh.
And is being used as the face of organized cybercrime. Because like, boy, that's not something a normal person would do. That's not an act you would engage in where you have literal police. You've already had your laptop taken. You've already been, you know, found unfit for trial with NVIDIA or Uber and all these other companies that you've been involved in, right? Like, that's just not normal behavior. And yet we want to act like this person is some sort of a famous, you know, or rather not infamous folk hero for doing it, right? Or like we'd mentioned the Half-Life 2. The guy who had hacked that in whatever 2003, you know, he stole the source code, and the game ended up being delayed by a year, which he then tried to leverage into a Valve job interview, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like my test, if I were going to give you a clear test, right? And then I promise for all of the listeners out there who are like, boy, it's a real Moriarty episode, isn't it?
No,
right?
I think this is super interesting. I think incredibly.
So my test then for you is very, very simple, right?
Okay.
Does the leak inform a consumer decision? Is it about monetization or content or predatory practices? Or does it just spoil a surprise, right? Like Diablo 4 has a battle pass. Is consumer protection, and people do not need to be angry about a leaker telling you that there is a battle pass. Here's Mario's new hat is vandalism at the core, right? It is theft that you are throwing out. It is no different to me than people changing their username to say Rob Stark dies in the Red Wedding, or to, you know, go out and spam into a whole bunch of Twitch chats Dumbledore or Snape kills Dumbledore over and over and over again, right? Like, it is the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% aligned. I think every single layer of nuance that you've added throughout the course of this episode has shaped my opinion a little bit more.
Nuance in a podcast?
Yeah, dude.
That is the problem. right? Like, this is such a nuanced position for me where I feel that, yes, there are good things about leaks. We have a lot of things to thank. Every time we see Frank Cifaldi and the Video Game History Foundation uploading some new thing that they got, or, you know, some disc that was uploaded or whatever, right? Like, I'm happy that that happens. I'm glad that we have the preservation. Every time Jason Schreier puts out something that shows that, oh yeah, this is something that shouldn't have happened. Boy, these people are engaging in, you know, fraud or crimes or bad things, and they're taking advantage of people. Yes, that is a good thing. But every time we see some, you know, wannabe influencer with 150 different followers tweeting out 37 different possible iterations so that they can go back and delete half of them to say, look, I was right about everything. That's when it just becomes weird clout chasing, and it's just cringe, and you shouldn't do it. And frankly, I look down at you. Boo. Boo on you. I say boo.
Boo. Boo. To that, yeah. Also, and I think two things can be wrong. Also, boo to the companies that are like super, super private about it. You know, to the earlier point of it kind of fueling this fire a little bit. I think two things can be wrong here. And live simultaneously wrong. I think, you know,
that is maybe the heart of nuance, right? Like, this is a nuanced take, I think, because I don't know that I would ever tell somebody that they can't leak something, right? But also, you know, why are you doing it? And that's why I think sort of my test is the ideal for me. And, you know, obviously it's just my ideal, and you can have your own opinion, and I'd love to hear it. But for me, is this something where you are ruining a surprise to hurt something, or because you think you're really cool to be the first one? And that's the only reason. Or is it something that is actively sort of protecting consumers, that is going to change a consumer's opinion? Because I tell you what, some of these games, if you'd come out and told me that Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to use AI, like we found out today, right? Like, if you told somebody that may change consumer opinion. And it is something that I think should be leaked. You should be saying, yes, Kingdom Hearts 4 is using AI art. It is using AI, Daffy Ducks or Donald Ducks, whatever, which one of, you know, like, that is something that we should know. Yes, this is an AI Donald. We're using AI art, and Kingdom Hearts 4 is made with generative AI. That is something we should know. Yeah. And I don't feel bad knowing that. And I think more people should know it.
Oh yeah, that's a little, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd get caught in the
crossfire. Well, it's also the
with
cover
this.
For Kingdom Hearts. The 1 through 3 thingy, not 4 itself.
That's what Emma's talking about.
Sean's never played. Sean's never played, so forgive him.
No.
Cass, what are your thoughts on this? We haven't heard from you a lot. I want to give you a little bit
generative
of
AI or
leakers.
I mean, so I have probably more than the average person, which isn't a lot. I have like experience as like a consumer of that kind of stuff, because during the hype cycle for Smash Brothers Ultimate, for base game and DLC, I got really into, like, I got to keep up with the leaks. I got to figure everything out. I got to know what is the most popular leak going on, like who's the one saying things. And through that, I learned a lot about like how, like the internals of how I'm gonna say system, it might not be the right word, a system like that works. How in the case of the collaboration with Smash Brothers between Nintendo and Square Enix, how there were a lot of deliberate, like, internal people being like, oh, this character is going to get leaked, but it was wrong information, so that they could weed out who's leaking that information.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
stuff like that. The whole concept of people creating a Twitter account with no followers, being like, this character is going to be in, and then how that extends to things beyond Smash Brothers, because that was my gateway into learning a lot of this. Like, oh, I'm gonna make 1 million predictions like 5 years ago, and then once something is confirmed, I'm gonna delete everything except for that one, and then go, look, guys, I got it. Like the clout chasing aspect.
And to be clear, that does happen. That is 100%. If you go follow some of these earlier, leakers, they're going to be doing that. They will be posting 100 tweets, fully intending to delete half of them or more,
at least.
But then, like in the Vergebend thing, because that was a very popular name. I heard it a lot during that time. Like I remember the first time that, because he had a good track record for a bit with Smash Brothers, and then the first time he was wrong because he was like, no, Steve is not getting in. Like we don't know who the Microsoft rep is going to be, but we know Microsoft is going to be there. But Steve is a no-show. Banjo is a no-show. Something like that. If someone's listening might be like, actually, he said this. But I remember the first time he was called out, he was like, dude, guys, like I just get my information from this other insider, and I just say it so that they don't get in trouble. I'm like, okay, well, the veil has been lifted. I don't care about what you say anymore. Like as if I even should, because like in retrospect I'm like, man, what the hell was I doing? Like, why do I care this much? But I think that unfortunately a lot of people, because I wasn't the most mentally mature then, there's a lot of people that go through, not to call everyone who cares about leaks immature, but like there is like a growing feeling from that, and there's a lot of people in my position back then that's like, oh, I need to know the thing now, and there's a market for that, and unfortunately people know that.
I'm with you. Like for what it's worth, I've also calmed down a lot. Like I really wanted some things for a long time, and
and I feel like for people like us, that's a very normal feeling to at least at one point have, and feel like we need to have it satiated. Like I think that for people like us, it is just part of growing. And
also sometimes if you're just going through it and you're leaning on a particular piece of work, like it can be difficult to overcome like that need of just wanting it. And
I think that that's a separate. I think that that's a very real thing. I also think that it is a separate topic, but
certainly,
like,
but it is just a piece of nuance to call out here about it.
I think that it is a real thing. Yes. Someone like myself who, I didn't really talk to people for a very long stretch of my life, and then being like, well, all I have is Smash Brothers and like one other friend that plays Smash Brothers. I have to know everything there is to know because this is everything I have. And like that's more of a discussion of like the concept of like American hyper independence and stuff like that. But
it's almost parasociety, right? Like it's almost parasocial to the video game.
Exactly.
Just
I think
a touch.
It absolutely is
more than a touch, like 100%. Sorry.
I know people that, and I apologize, I don't think that any of them are watching, but there's a potential that they are. I have fans that are regulars in my Discord server that like whenever anything was coming up about Doom leaks, about like the new Doom, they would like be updating me about everything, and I had to tell them like I don't care, rather I don't want to hear about it. Sorry. I was trying to be polite, but I was like internally, and I probably should have just said this. I was like, go outside, please find something to do. There is more to life than this. But like at the same time, I'm like, maybe they need to go through this. Maybe they need to like experience that feeling of being excited for something because this is all they have, and so that they can work through it in the same way that I have, where it's like, hey, there's like you get it out of your system and you're like, oh, what do I do now? And then you go find something else. Because like I know that feeling of rejection that you get from having someone that you look up to be like, hey, cut that out. Like no one cares, bro. And then like that feeling of like, what did I do wrong? I don't want to put someone through that, but that's a different discussion.
No, but it's a good point though. Just anecdotally to support your point, like having grown out of that myself, I can tell you that a lot of like feeling like crap because my favorite thing isn't getting attention or getting support, right? Definitely like waned when I went outside and found something to do.
Yeah, like
What'd you find?
I cannot
Golf
emphasize that, and I
golf
think
and,
that
like,
you and
returning
I,
to, and I got a
what's the
drum.
layout? You and I, have not like have gone through a similar thing where it's like, we very suddenly out of the blue like meet some people, we go hang out, and then suddenly it's like, oh, there really is a whole world out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the world isn't just these niche Discord groups. Like not to sound like borderline incel, but like, you know,
No,
There's a whole
I'm gonna
world out
go.
there.
I'm gonna take a pause for the cause here, and I'm gonna take this take this ball and run with it on being
Do it.
pro hobby.
you're not allowed to run with the ball with basketball, but you can try.
You know, again, I know we're not supposed to
called
acknowledge
traveling.
Twitch chat too much during the recording of this, but TK Hub World says, "Man, this hits home. It's why I learned the piano," and I couldn't agree more. Right, like, you know, I found music a long time ago, but having gotten access, being in a very fortunate position to have access to a really nice electronic drum kit in my, you know, apartment situation, has taken up a lot more of my mental space, and in like the best way possible. And the same thing with golf as well. Like, I'm going outside, I'm standing up. Feels good to be like walking around. And also it's like, you know, I don't know, hit things with stick again, like take it out on the golf ball, right? Just going pro hobby like really does kind of like, if you're feeling crappy about like your favorite thing not being acknowledged by the people that made it, like, do exactly what I just said.
And I going into this, I didn't expect this to become like so personal. But
Me
I
neither.
guess like tangentially, it kind of is to me. Like, I wanted to be someone who, even beyond just Smash Brothers was kind of the catalyst for it. But I did go to a point where I'm just like, I want to keep up with everything. Like, I want to know what Nintendo's doing. I want to know what Xbox is doing. I want to know this and that. And then like, I just kind of hit a point where I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
It's like you
I
can know
don't-
what people are doing, but like also like I've not noticed, but I always wonder, like, a lot of times whenever people like say leak the games or even look into leaks, like do you play those games? Like,
yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I feel like it fosters this, if it happened today, which it does, but if like that, all that big leak conversation happened today, the amount of people that are called LARPers would be through the roof.
Well, I think
Like
I think a good example of that immediately is the Toulouse, right? Like that was
Yes.
done
Yeah.
with absolutely disregard, right? Like, and it changed the entire discussion behind it. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, like I mean, not to make it personal, but like even back then, this was the thing that stuck out to me, was like the amount of people that were posting. Like it was like the first credible leak for Last of Us 2 that came out, and then they posted pictures of Abby, and it's like, guys, look, they made the villain of the game a trans woman, and because it came from this one leaker, like it popped off, and that was like the narrative for a long time before it got any confirmation.
Yeah, and look, I think there are plenty of things to dislike about The Last of Us 2, right? Like, I think there are plenty of things that you can dislike about that game. I actively dislike that game. I think that it is a bad story, and I don't like it. But it has nothing to do with you know, the sort of culture war stuff that surrounds it, and the culture war stuff that surrounds it is what it ended up being a talking point about. And that is exclusively because of the leaks. And I feel that if the game had come out without any of those leaks, people would not be nearly as angry as they had been, because they spent, you know, weeks or months or however long it was sitting there and seething about this DEI woke shit. And it's like, you know, right? Like,
Yep.
it's like you already put that, like,
Sadly,
those
I do.
feelings into your head without experiencing it. And like, sure, maybe you're like, actually, I'm not into that game because of XYZ. Cool. But I feel like a lot of people that like seethed in that also weren't going to play it, if that makes sense. Let me rephrase that. A lot of people that seethed over it loudly on social media either were never going to play it, or if it was going to be like really, really good, they would have never talked about seething and hating it. They would just be like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
like, that's it.
a significant portion of the people who are getting mad about your video games, right? The people who are getting mad about your Stellar Blades, the people who are getting mad about your
Anything.
well, yeah, most of these, quite frankly, are people like Graham Linman or whatever his name is, or you know, whatever the other guy who starts with the G, and I always forget his name.
Grums.
Grums. It's those kind of people who are doing it literally to make money, right?
Yeah.
Like they are doing it very literally for money because rage makes you angry. And so there is that other part of the clout chaser who is doing it for like, you know, bad reasons. They are not telling you something that's good because they want you to know it. They're doing it because they want you to pay them money. In some way, and support them and make them famous. And, you know, that gets real old real fast.
Right.
You know, and like I've had plenty. Grums, I think, follows me on Twitter, for example, right? So like I'm aware of how these people operate. Like I'm very aware of it. And it is certainly not positive. And we should be aware that there is a, you know, flip a coin chance that the person that is leaking this is doing it specifically to get you angry in order to monetize your rage.
Yeah.
I mean, my YouTube name used to be "And We Give Up" because I wanted to be like one of those like rage, not rage, but like, I'm so angry at this video game, I'm gonna like freak out about it.
You're gonna be Leafy.
I would rather.
Wolfie is here. Wolfie is here.
That's so funny. Oh, man.
Right.
Hey,
But we do have a Patreon
rather-
question of the week here that I think we could.
I need to.
Oh
end
wait, I have one. I have one more quick
set myself
thought to add that I don't think will spark much more conversation, but just wanted to add it in. That another thing that helped me not care so much is branching out in my taste of games. Now that I don't just play only one genre, life's good. So.
Well, I think it's also because, like, I'll keep it brief, but I think that, like, that is just in how do I word this? I went through something similar, and I think that it's also like you had to reach a certain point in your life to be okay with wanting to branch out. Like, I think that there is a matter of personal growth there. Like, maybe I'm projecting. That's just my experience, but it's like, yeah, I never thought I would enjoy an RTS game, but I just kind of hit a point where I'm like, you know what? Like, I want to stop being a stickler. I want to like learn something new.
Expedition 33 is my new favorite game. It has topped Bloodborne.
I never would have thought that would be a game that you would play.
It's topped Bloodborne.
Never.
Me neither. So anyway, on to the Patreon question. Good. Thanks for that, Cass. Aligned. Our Patreon question of the week, which you can submit if you follow us at patreon.com/Crub and throw us just a little bit of dosh if you have it to spare. This week's Patreon question of the week comes from PaigeingCy, and it is, what is your favorite genre of game?
Yeah, I guess I could just kick that off. Mine is, I don't want to say like super realistic FPSs, but more realistic FPS just sort of in general. I like those types of games.
Like a military sim?
Like CSGO?
Well, right, like I don't want to play Ghost Recon necessarily, and I don't mean modern Ghost Recon. I mean like the older Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to do that. I don't necessarily want to have to like, you know, spot the guy in the tree. Who is camouflaged the same color as the tree. Like, that's not necessarily the type of game that I'm looking for, but just more realistic. I'm not a big fan of shooting somebody in the head 50 times and them not dying, even though probably the game that I have the most hours in outside of Counter-Strike is The Division, so boy, you should just go ahead and consider me a hypocrite. But yeah, you know, I like when I shoot somebody and they die. But I also, I don't know, I love all sort of games in general, and I think if I were to really narrow it down to genre, it would be a mechanic, not a genre. It would be loot. I really like loot. I like it so much. I love my Borderlands and my Diablos and, you know, my Divisions, and boy, if you just give me something sparkly that I can pick up and make number go higher, I get real happy.
Hell yeah.
Valid.
I think I have two answers for this because favorite genre to me is a tier, rather than a singular one.
Sure.
I will pick one game in the category of parkour, which is Parry Slop. That is my favorite. Think Lies of P, that type of thing. Sekiro. Some incredible games. Specifically Lies of P and Sekiro, where the L1 actually does something, and is like a sensible timing. Has like
Did
a
you never
sensible
block when you
rhythm.
played Dark Souls?
No, the parries work in Dark Souls because like I have there's footage there's footage on my YouTube channel which is like not there's nothing else coming over to that at any point in time soon. But it's of me just parrying the crap out of Gwyn of Cinder, right? Like it's doable. You just got to get the timing right. It's all rhythm. It's just that I prefer when it's like more of an immediate parry than like a big shield movement from left to right.
Right.
And so Parry Slop specifically, and then for the spreadsheet bracket, I would say card games.
Okay.
So
Like deck
Your
builders?
Balatros.
your Balatros, your Slay the Spires, your Magic the Gatherings. I really love card games, man. It's a real
You do.
character development. I love card games. They're my favorite Excel like. Yeah. So Sean, Cass?
Excel like is a sentence. Platformers.
Of course. Yeah,
Of
that's
course.
not even a question.
Yeah, it's not even a
and
question.
the thing about it, Sean, I know that the answer is yes. Is it better if it has a snow level?
Yeah.
Swag.
What is that a reference to?
It's a reference
The
to the video
last
that
video
you
that
can
I've
find
uploaded.
on the Wolf KO Son YouTube channel. It is
Gosh.
up.
It is up.
You hit that perfectly. Let me think. So
Okay.
my answer, I've been thinking on it.
Proud of you.
And I'm just going to say kind of blanketly, not sure if it's a genre, it's more of a style of game, but the movement shooter. But that would also extend to side
Overwatch?
scrollers, like the Mega Mans, the Contras. I love that style of game, whether it's first person or it's a side scroller, just something where you're maneuvering around and you're shooting. And
Your Doom
there's
Eternals,
some
your
kind of-
Ultra Kills, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. But at the same time, I think that if you asked me on the right day, I'd probably tell you immersive sims, System Shocks, Deus Ex, BioShock.
That tracks with
love
everything that I know
Just
about you.
having-
Yeah.
Yeah, I love just playing a game like that, turning the lights off, and then just locking in for like 2 or 3 hours. Like there's nothing
Yes. Yes. My Steam wish list is mostly 0451s, right? Like when you look at it, it's like, oh, here's a $10 indie ImSim,
like it. It's a great way of putting it.
Boy.
451.
I like that a lot.
That's your version of Scrimblow. Like if Scrimblow is to Kevin as 0451s is to M.
I'm still really like waiting on what is it? That New Blood thief
Dustbloods?
Oh, Gloomwood. Yeah.
Gloomwood.
So,
Yeah, they keep updating it, and I'm like, I kind of don't want to play the early access. Like
I made a mistake and played it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I played through it, and I'm like, this is amazing, and then I got to the end, and I'm like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like systems working within, like it is an amazing immersive sim, and I'm really excited for the final game. I have zero interest in playing it whenever a new update drops, and I know that like the creator of the game has voiced their frustration with that, which I totally get, especially when they're under the same publisher as like New Blood, and they see people getting so excited about every time Ultra Kill gets like a tiny stat like update. But like Ultra Kill is a game that's meant to be infinitely replayable and it's mission structured. Gloomwood, like
You really
I'm not
can't
gonna
play it the same way.
I'm not gonna play like the first floor of System Shock and then be like, all right, well, I can't wait to play that again a month from now when they add the second floor. And it's
Yes.
like it's not the same.
Yep.
Yeah,
no, I'm 100% with you, right? Like, because I've played through it too, and I have zero interest in trying it again until 1.0 comes out or whatever it is. Like, I want a finished version of it. It's the same sort of thing as like playing Baldur's Gate 3 when it was back in early access. It's like, I just didn't do that. I bought the game, but I didn't do that because I knew that I would not be happy playing through this game multiple times. And perhaps that's just me because I don't play games multiple times in general, right? Like, once I complete my playthrough, that is my playthrough, and I have completed it. It is done.
Right.
Depends on the game for me, but generally I don't.
I'm someone who actually really enjoys replaying games. Like for me, I'm going to play a game more than once if I like it. But like no, even with that, I'm like, I kind of don't want to get used to like a game like Gloomwood as it is in early access because so much of it is going to change, and I don't want to really. I don't really want to be there to be like, and here's every little change. They moved the flare from here to here. Like, I don't care.
I will replay games like Sekiro and Lies of P where I can beat them in like a couple days. You know, I think I have Sekiro down to like under 20 hours. So like, I can just like from a fresh save. So I can just like go play that game. You know what I mean? It's not really like a significant chunk of my life anymore in the way that it was when it first came out.
Yeah.
You know, I like I know how to play it now. I'm better at the game. I got good. So, you know, I'll replay games like that where it's like the first time you play it, it takes a lot of time, but then the second time doesn't take a lot of time at all.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Meanwhile, I'll replay Gunfire Reborn, but that's because it's a roguelike.
True.
Roguelikes are replay hell.
Oh,
I have sunk way too many hours into Vampire.
For sure. You know, and I've been so pick slop pilled lately. Pick slop has just been like taking over my life. I've been playing Returnal. So it's I think I mentioned this in the call the other day. I got a code for a boom shoot that's already out. I think I could probably tell you what it is, but I'm not going to just in case.
Yeah, I was like,
I got a code for a sponsored review of this game, and I've heard really good things of it. I have a friend who did he's like lead playtester on this game or something like that. I'm like, okay, like yeah, I'll play this. Like I know that
I'll give it a shot. Yeah,
this guy's input on playtesting is actually like really matters whenever he's playtested because he playtested for oh crap, what is that Doom mod that became like a full game?
MyHouse.wad?
Total Chaos. Good guess. Total Chaos. He did stuff for Turbo Overkill. And it's like I know that this guy is someone that like they resort to for like gameplay playtesting, and like they take his feedback in a constructive way. There we go. And so I'm like, okay, that's enough. Like I trust this friend, and I like his opinions on these games. I'll take this game, and it's good so far. It's pretty fun. And then I made a little bit of progress, and this was like a day after the Crub people were like really going after pick slop. I play the game and I go over to this item. It's like, oh, here's an item. And I go up to a card and it's like, pick one of these 3 perks. And I'm like, okay.
Well, we're not going after it because we don't like it. This is one of the times that we're going after it because we like it.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant like they were just like they were having like going off pick slop. Like that is the topic of the night. Like I was playing Resident Evil 4 remake in the call, and you guys were all like playing this like top-down Vampire Survivors like pick slop.
Yeah.
Together.
We were playing.
This was like the day after that. I get this game and I get to a point where it's like, all right, now pick one of 3 perks. I'm like, okay. The stars are aligning here.
We were playing the Spell Brigade, yeah. Which is funny because Vampire Survivors does have multiplayer. Which Cass just told me like the other day.
Yeah, we're gonna play it soon.
Yeah. Man. Well, leakers, pick slop, genres, gaming. Truly, we have it all.
Scared.
Honestly, well, tell us what you think about leakers, audience. Tell us in the comments below or in the chat right now. Or we'll read that later. With that, anybody else have anything to say? Closing thoughts.
Goodbye.
Oh my god, guys, I have the entire leak of Battlefield 5. Oh wait, they actually made a Battlefield 5.
Yep.